You are watching me now on the DJI Pocket 3. I have a Pro Mist filter and an ND filter on this lens. How does this footage look? I'm using the brand new filter kit from Freewell. This is the MegaPack, which comes with ND filters, CPL filters, and Pro Mist filters. So in this video, we're going to show you how the footage looks and how this works. Hey, welcome to the studio. Now, this pack can look a little overwhelming, but actually it is quite simple. There are a lot of filters here, but let me show you what's included. Now, these black ones along here, these are all ND filters. Now, even though there's quite a few of them, you would only tend to use one of these filters. It goes from ND8 all the way up to ND1000. Now, shooting here in the UK, usually I would only use the 8 to maybe 32, maybe a little bit higher if you're on a white sandy beach. So, don't get too overwhelmed. You probably won't need all of those. You'll tend to use 2 or 3 at max, depending on where you're filming. Now, at the bottom here, we have the Pro Mist filter. This is a really nice, simple filter that just adds a little bit more bloom to your shots, and we'll show you a little sequence using that later on. We've got a light pollution reduction filter. I'll show you that later on as well. And we have some NDs with PL built in. Now, that's quite handy if you want to kind of do two things. You want to reduce the amount of sunlight coming into your lens so you can keep that 1/50 shutter speed, but also you want to make the sky a little bluer, or you want to make that sea look a little clearer. It gets rid of some of those reflections. And I'll show you shots of all of these things later on in the video. And then we have a nice and simple CPL filter. This allows you to adjust the intensity of that blue sky or the reflections on your video. Now, these are really, really easy to use. So if I just flick on the Pocket 3 right here, with a lot of filters that you get on cameras, you kind of screw them on. With these are simply magnetic. Now, they are a little bit fiddly, so I would recommend taking a cleaning cloth with you because it's so easy to get your fingerprints on here. What you do is just drop them on the front of your Pocket 3 like this, and they work that easily. Now, I'll show you in another video maybe how you set these up, but the great thing is you can stack these, unlike some of the other filters. So I've got the ND filter on there, and then let's say I want to add the black Pro Mist. Boom, that just attaches like that on there. So what exactly does the ND do, and how does this affect your footage? Let's jump outside and I'll show you. This is what the ND16 looks like back illuminated. The sun is right behind me. And then if I turn the camera around, let's have a little look. This is what the ND looks like. If the sun is facing directly towards my face, we still get a nice blue sky, and really nothing is overexposed. Okay, so here's an example of where we should see the shutter speed problem or the lack of motion blur. So the camera's in auto mode now. The image quality probably looks okay, but look at this fence here. As I'm walking past it, it looks very crispy, very sharp, and maybe slightly juddery. What I'm going to do now is put on the ND filter just to show you that this should be blurry in an ideal world if you use the 1/50 shutter rule. So let's put on the ND filter now. Okay, so now we have put on the ND16, and what you should see as I'm walking is this fence behind me should look a little blurrier. There should be natural motion blur occurring, and this is actually what happens to our eyes. If you actually walk down a path, or if you have cars going past you and you kind of focus on an area, you will notice that actually in real life those items will be out of focus. So sticking to the shutter rule, it's in all films and everything, but it looks more natural to us when we're watching video back. So maybe now if I put up a side by side of the fence moving in auto and the fence moving with the ND filter on, you should see the difference. So there we go, what do we think about that? Now, honestly, I think these days people are so used to seeing GoPro footage and automatic cameras that I don't think it actually completely ruins your shots. It's just if you're trying to get the most professional looking footage you can, the most pleasing to the eye, you really do need to use an ND filter. But let me know in the comments below what you think of the 2 bits of footage we just caught. Okay, and now for the CPL. This is great at getting rid of reflections. So let's jump inside the car and I'll show you how that looks. So I'm in my car right now, and this is a great example of the CPL filter. You can probably barely see me through the windscreen here. There's a lot of reflections on the windscreen. So if you're trying to get professional shots, maybe you've got actors sitting inside a car, or maybe you just do car reviews and you want to film yourself from outside the car looking in, this is how you can do it. So now let's turn on the CPL filter and we'll see how it gets rid of this glare in the windscreen. So now we have the CPL filter turned on, and just look at the difference this has made. We've gotten rid of nearly all of the reflections on the car's windscreen. Now my car windscreen is a little bit dirty because of the bad weather we've got here in the UK. But again, if you're trying to film inside your car from the outside, this is the Hollywood trick. This is how you get rid of reflections inside your car. And I think this filter does a fantastic job at this. So the CPL filter should be making the sky darker. So if you're in a situation where the sky looks a little washed out, you can spin the CPL filter and you should get some nice deep blue skies. The other way you can use the CPL filter is to use it with water as well. So if you are near the sea and the sea doesn't look too clear, you can spin the CPL filter around and it will get rid of some of the reflections on the water. So that sky is now looking nice and deep. So that's pretty cool. If you are filming car videos or you want to shoot someone through a window, it is going to get rid of some of those reflections. But now let's take a look at a little bit more footage without me talking over it and show you what these filters can do. Pro Mist. Pro Mist. Pro Mist. Pro Mist on. So this is what your shot would look like if you're shooting at 4K 25 frames a second and you've got the 1/50 shutter rule. Now let's put on the ND32. And there we go, that shot is fixed. Now even shooting with the sun right behind me, you can still see that the Pocket 3 has great dynamic range and you can still see my face, which is pretty cool. But also we're getting that 1/50 shutter rule and everything is looking pretty good. Now, I can barely look at the camera right now. It is so bright, but this is doing such a great job. On the EV meter, we are just plus 0.3, which is pretty acceptable. But this would be so blown out if we didn't have this ND on. Let me try and take it off and show you once again. There we go. This footage would be unusable. This is just ND. Now we're going to apply the Pro Mist. Pro Mist attached. So the Pro Mist filter should add a nice bloom to light. So this is during the day, so it's not going to make a huge difference. Mainly this works, I found, in nighttime, but is it softening my skin a little bit? Is it making the footage coming from the Pocket 3 a little more cinematic looking? This is the ND32 and the black Pro Mist filter. So also in this pack, we've got some ND filters with PL, some polarizing effect. Now, what's weird is that you do seem to be able to rotate this. So I'm not sure what the difference is between the circularizing polarizer filter and just the standard PL. I'm going to put this on now and we'll try this out. Okay, so I'm going to try this out now in a couple of areas here and we'll spin around. So this is what the ND with PL looks like if you had it on the line. It actually looks pretty good. The sky's looking quite deep there. So I'm going to rotate this a little bit and see how this affects the image. And I think actually you can see it's a little stiff, but it's making the sky a little bit lighter there. So maybe this does act very similar to a CPL. I'm just going to rotate this back. There we go, that's rotated back. The sky is looking nice, deep and blue. I'm now going to face into the sun a little more towards the cathedral. So this is with ND32 and the PL on its white line. I'm now going to rotate this around and see how it changes it. And this is with the filter rotated around. Do we notice any difference there? What do we think? Now the ND is working perfectly fine, which is great. So maybe even if you want to use this just as an ND and have this on just in case, this works pretty well. So that's how it looks there when we've just moved that around. So I'm going to need to do some more tests on this, but maybe this is quite handy if you are in an area where you are dealing with blue skies or the sea and you want to have this on as just a measure to make sure you're going to get rid of those reflections or get a nice deeper sky. I'm going to put this back and just have a look in monitor if this does look any different. Okay, so some of you may be asking, what happens when you've got these filters on and you turn this off? What will happen? Because obviously what happens normally is the camera tilts in so that it prevents it from, kind of getting damaged. Well, what will happen here, I'm going to turn this off. It's going to do the 3-second countdown and you'll notice that it will try and close, it will detect the lens and then it will flip it back around. So this means you can put it back in the case if you wish, or you can carry it around and it detects that the filter is on. So you're good to go. And then when you turn this back on again, it's going to reset as normal. There's no extra balancing or anything else you have to do to get this working. And as mentioned, if you do want to carry around one of these filters, what I would probably do is maybe take one ND with me on the day, or I would take the Pro Mist filter, and this can go nicely magnetically into your case. So that's a look at the Freewell filters. Let me know if you have any comments below or if you want to see more footage. And if you want to check out the full DJI Pocket 3 video review, you can see that up here.